still do. We still do. We still do. Still do after all this time at the altar. I alter my mind and vow to God I love you till he make his return. The rain should be the least of your concern. Under God's umbrella, I promise to provide and preserve his word.
And so when we talk about this broad concept of love, where would you start in just even talking to someone about that?
Well, first, I think the general place to start, the beginning needs to start with God. That's number one. Because if we just have our own idea of love, it can vary. God is solid, sound. His standard of love is higher, and it's pretty much immeasurable. Had Jesus not came to give us a worldview, a universal view of how deep the love of the Father is, we never would have known. It has to be something that is given. It has to be something that's revealed. And so his revealed love is where we start. There's a lot of people they think that their concept of love, they give it a standard. And oftentimes when you get into marriage, it doesn't work because you can have a loveless love. And so the idea is to be able to understand its framework, its beginning, its nature, its care. And so I would start there first, just because that there's thought in love. There are those that think that love is thoughtless. It's more emotional than it is thoughtless. So there's no thinking, there's no thought, there's nothing other than what they feel for the moment. And I think that's why many marriages struggle, is because they're more emotional about their love than they're actually intellectual about it. And even in family,
Yeah.
I mean, just family. Our parents teach us how to love, or for some, how not to, or they don't. You don't hear the word "I love you." They think it's providing a roof over your head and all that. That does have its place, but there's nothing like hearing the words that "I love you," or having that emotional connection to make sure that your mind is always focused on the defining word in it itself. So I think love from the very start must start with how God loved us. Because if you don't move into marriage with understanding that, it can be decades before that marriage begins to balance out, because there has to be a standard.
Yeah.
And if our standard is, you have a standard, I have a standard, and that's the standard of what marriage should be, we're going to have a problem. Because at one point, the conflict and the battle is going to be, my love is right, your love is wrong, my love is strong, your love is weak, my love is better, yours is worse. And so there'll be a fight just to establish basic standards of love. So, and that's why I said that love is not thoughtless, it's not reckless. There's a lot of administration with love, stewardship. Love gives way to time, because love knows you're developing and you're growing. Who you are right now is not who you're going to be tomorrow. As a matter of fact, since we've been here just the last few minutes and what have you, we're still not the same. Everything about us changes. Everything about us changes. I mean, our bodies are changing constantly. And so God gives us the room to change without penalizing us. And those that try to penalize each other, I'm just saying, it could have a lot to do with the fact that they're not stewarding their love correctly for the spouse. But there's a lot of thought involved of it. I watch kids grow up, and there's so much conflict in the family, and with just kids and with parents and children, and you kind of go like, where's that coming from? Why is that there? It's one thing to have a disagreement.
Yeah.
Disagreements are going to be part of it. I mean,
Yes.
it's just part of it. But love gives the room for it. Love says, you can hurt me and I'll be okay. You can disappoint me, but I'm cool. I know you. I know that you're loving me. I'm loving you. And we're trying our best to make sure that we have strong relationship. But for those that are thinking that love is thoughtless and, oh, he's so cute. Oh my God, I just love him. Oh my God. Oh my God. He opened the door for me, and on and on. Yeah, but you don't talk about the part when he cusses you out when the door is closed.
Yeah.
And so there has to be something that governs us, that's greater than the anger and the frustration and what have you. So I think it needs to start with God. How did he love us? Why did he love us? I mean, what was his thought in loving us? There's a thought behind him rescuing us from us. Forget demons, devils, imps, and pimps, just to deliver us from us. Why would you love us so much that would be so intimate that you dwell not just with us, but in us, that you
Yeah.
actually have made your abode inside of us. That's deep.
Mm-hmm.
24.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. 20, I don't know anybody want to be around folks 24 hours all the time.
Yeah.
But because there's performance side of it, and we don't like to talk about the performance side. But if the performance is not if it's not motivated correctly,
Mhm.
then it's just a show.
Right.
But when it's performed out of deep, deep love and respect, it works. And I
Yeah.
think every family needs to know that there is a standard of love that can change the entire atmosphere of your house. You've been to those
Yeah.
houses, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Where it's
yes.
just like chaos. You kind of go like that. No, no,
Oh yeah.
no.
They ain't got to say a word and you can feel it.
You
Oh
can
yeah,
feel
you
it.
can feel it.
You can feel it. The tension is so great. So that's where I think God has helped me down through the years in loving people, is because He holds me to a higher standard than the world's love. It's like, hey, no, cool, not cool.
Yeah.
Like He holds you to a standard in prayer. You can't pray and be mean and hateful, and you can pray, but it's not very useful if you're not willing to yield to the one you're praying to, because it's never just about you're saying something to God. It's always about God saying something to you too.
Yeah.
It's a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's where anybody should start if they're going to talk about love and how great love is. What is the standard of your love? Some people's
Yeah.
standard really is like they get married and they want the guy to act like the father. They want
Yep.
the wife to act like your mama. It kind of go like, dude, you didn't marry her so she can be a duplicate of your mama.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you have to love who she is, and it's the same either way. But we need to find what is the thoughtfulness. You love her for what? What are you willing? I ask couples oftentimes, and particularly those that are at the brink of that they just want to give up. And then they decide, okay, no, we want to make it work. You've heard that before.
Yeah.
We want it to work, and I'm going like, how bad do you want it to work? Well, we're willing to come to counseling. Okay, but how serious are you when it comes to wanting it to work? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to pay? What are you willing to lay down? What are you willing to pick up? What are you willing to learn? What are you willing to unlearn? If you want it to work so bad, then everything has to come to the table, and we have to go like, yeah, I'm willing to do that. I will never call you that name again. I'm not going to address you like that again. I'm willing to do that. I don't care how frustrated I am. I'm going to do the 3-second thing. You have to be willing to change the method,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's where I would start. I know that's a long answer,
Okay.
but that's where I would
No,
start.
it's good
That's really
because
good.
when you break it down and you talk about there has to be this standard that governs your love. It's like that in different arenas of life.
Yes, sir.
Whether you get a job, whether you want to have a certain amount of money in your bank account, there has to be some standard. And so even when you talk about love, this love that, first off comes from God, having a standard that you measure yourself to, and then you talk about like the love that needs to reside inside of you from
Yes,
that
sir.
love. Like what does it look like, or what did it look like for you wrestling through some of that, as you were growing up as a young Christian and then learning how to be in marriage? Like what did it look like for you to wrestle with some of that when you found that it didn't align?
Oh boy, kind of like feel like an onion. You just feel God peeling all this stuff off of you because you think, you're left to yourself, your own mind, your own idea. I remember I just wanted somebody to love, and I wanted somebody to love me, whatever that meant. You're young, you really don't know what
Yeah.
you're thinking.
Mhm.
I mean, you've not really put the time and effort in to really be. I don't want to be careful because I don't want to offend nobody, but to really to have an exactness, because
Mhm.
again, the emotion is there, and emotions can really get in the way. You'll know that as you got 2 beautiful babies.
Yes.
So you'll know that as they grow up. You'll be like, you love her? Huh?
Mm.
What do you love about her? And I learned that God had to really teach me that my love or the way I was loving was not enough.
Mhm.
Because for us, at least for me, everybody starts off with an A. I mean, if you get an F, you have to really do something to get an F. Because I'm going to just simply love you. I'm going to respect you. I'm going to honor you. And I'm going to treasure the relationship. So if it gets to a point to where a person has an F, they really worked hard. For me to just say, this is just not cool. That means that, now I'm not saying that I love perfect or anything like that, but I'm saying these are the things that God has taught me over time. So you can call me names and act up, and I can get past that. I can get through that. There's very little doors that I have ever shut in a relationship. Very few doors. And normally it's because it wasn't healthy enough to even work at it. You have to wait for years to mature or to grow. I've got to grow. They got to grow, and what have you. But what I've learned during time as a young Christian is that love has fruit. It has fruit. And if I'm going to love someone, I need to begin to look at the fruit. I need to make sure that my fruit is consistent to the vine, or consistent to the vine. Jesus said, John 15, my Father's the husband, he's the one that takes care of everything. And I'm the vine and you're the branches. So if the fruit doesn't look like what the vine and what is in the vine, if you don't have that, then like I said, there's this peeling off. You gotta be going, I don't think so. And normally you have to be cut before you're healed. So he'll come in and start beginning to cut that stuff off and cut. But wait a minute, Lord, I just grew that. I know it ain't no good. Actually, it's hindering you from growing.
Always gonna love you and always. No doubt you're my blessing. Ain't no second guessing. No one can separate.